The Old Testament Hope. This quarter, we look at what the Bible says about human life. Why does it end? Why is there death? What does it mean? And is there hope? While many ancient philosophies and religions find hope and explanation of life and death in an immortal soul, the Bible has a completely different view and setup. We looked previously at death as a result of sin. We looked at the rebellion against God, at the beauty and perfection of free will, with all its challenges and consequences as well. We looked at the choices that were made and at our human nature. We were made from dust and breath of God. When we die, the breath returns to God and only dust is left. There is no such thing as independent soul. A living being and a soul is the divine combination that God created. With death, it just ceases to exist. God, though, who had the power to create us in such an amazing way, has also the power and moral right to bring us back to life. How and why he gained this right will be the subject of a few more lessons a bit later, but this week we look at some examples from the Old Testament that clearly demonstrate the hope that the prophets and the patriarchs had. This hope was not in immortal soul, was not in immediate hell or paradise, but in a resurrection when God finalizes the issue with sin. And the lesson this week looks at texts from Job, from some psalmists, then Isaiah, and at the end we look at prophet Daniel. Job, in his struggles and dilemmas, had confidence and trust in God. Even if all the misery ends with him dying, he was convinced that this is not the end. He expressed certitude that his Redeemer will bring him back to life one day and that he will stay in front of him in his flesh, not as a soul. Psalm 49 expresses the reflections and convictions of the psalmist that no human power or possessions can provide for anything beyond this life. Everything goes away and is destroyed by the power of the grave. But only God has the power to redeem and to overcome it. This is the hope and confidence of the psalmist there. Then in another psalm, Psalm 71, David now talks about psychological, mental, and spiritual distress. He reflects on God's care and providence, and he uses his belief and conviction in the final resurrection to express his trust in the power of God, to redeem and to bring him back from the depths of the earth, physically at the resurrection, and also spiritually from his depression. Prophet Isaiah speaks a good deal about the hope in the resurrection, but not only in personal aspect, but also as community of those who stand with God. The wicked will know nothing and will be forgotten, but the redeemed will rejoice life as intended at creation. And at the end, we look at Prophet Daniel, who provides further details on the final resolution of the conflict and rebellion against God. And he points to a time at the end when actually everyone will be brought back to life. This is the time where justice, mercy, and grace in front of the whole universe will be served as per the choices that we made. For some, this will be the end. For others, the new beginning. These are in brief the examples that this week's lesson looks at. So, what will I take away from it in the length of one tweet? #lesson in one. The Old Testament hope is rooted in redemption and resurrection when Jesus returns to finalize the issue with sin. This conviction and expectation provides different meaning to our daily journey. Resurrections before the cross will be the theme for our study next week.